Most of the time with Super Mario Bros. Games, the story is the same. Peach gets taken and Mario has to save her by either visiting 7 to 8 different worlds, completing some incredibly easy tasks, and dropping Bowser into the Lake of Fire by stepping on the switch. And the Mushroom Kingdom has never really been in a big threat for the most part. But I did some research and I did some time playing some of these games, and I found 3 different instances where the Mushroom Kingdom should have fell, and I'm about to share those with you. Our first instance comes in the hands of the Shrooms. Yes, I'm talking about Mario and Luigi, partners in time. The Shrooms invade the kingdom and immediately take over Peach's castle and Bowser's castle. Now, the Shrooms are like these evil toad creatures that come from a far-off planet, and they take over both castles. Right there, that is 2 powerhouses of the Mushroom Kingdom to rule over. And if you have both castles under your claws, it's over. Now, what was it that made Princess Shroob and her army so successful? Did she just come to the Mushroom Kingdom and take over just immediately? Kind of like that, but it was more organized. Now, Princess Shroob was a lot, but one thing that she wasn't was complacent. She didn't want to stay in one castle and just rule over the Mushroom Kingdom from there. She had to make sure that she continued her rule and made it bigger. So what she did is she went out and put camps all around the Mushroom Kingdom that powered her UFOs, all of her army, her weapons, everything, and she kept them running from that. But however, this wasn't enough for Princess Shroob because she wanted more. She wanted to see the bros be humiliated. So she even made concerts and gatherings where people came to watch shows of the bros tackling on big baddies, like one of her bosses that ate a lollipop. What? But did she stop there? No, she continued on. She wanted to invade the entire Yoshi's Island with a giant alienated version of the Yoshi called the Yube. But now that she has the Vim factories in place, these power the UFOs, which in turn power the Yube to get bigger and bigger and bigger and eat more Yoshis and even the bros and everybody else on the island. I mean, there is even a part where Princess Shroob disguises herself as Peach with like a fungus on her face, and the bros save her, take her back, and she's with the bros for so long, and eventually they find out that it was her all along hiding as Peach. It's just mischievous. And then finally at the end, the final battle is initiated. Not to mention she also has a giant queen mothership UFO, but she comes out and she builds some type of robot contraption to fight the bros. She even has like a floating chair. Even Peach is jealous. And somehow the bros save the day. How is this even possible? She has a giant Shroob castle, a mothership, a giant army, tons of lieutenant squadrons. I mean, how does she lose? She has a giant alien Yoshi. But even with all this, Princess Shroob ain't done. She's still going on because she's got family members now. Yeah, older sister shows up, and let me tell you, she's coming for you. And she ain't pretty. So apparently, the Mushroom Kingdom was actually invaded by both sisters, which in turn would have absolutely destroyed the kingdom if they both were still alive, but Peach decides to be stupid and capture one of them and not tell a single soul. No, she doesn't tell the bros the entire time they're out there collecting, and all the time she meets up, and when they put them all together at the very end, she doesn't even say anything. And let me tell you, Elder Princess Shroob is an incredible force of nature to be reckoned with. I mean, she can literally transform with the power of her crown to turn into this giant octopus creature. Of course, while Peach is hiding. The girl's so ugly, she made Peach pass out behind the chair. At least she's quiet. And of course, is she done? No. Instead, at the very end, she turns into a little stanker cupcake, and Bowser decides to go hometown buffet on it. So now they have to fight the literal spirit of Elder Shroob. I mean, these guys just do not stop. And would you believe me if I told you there was even more? No, I'm just playing. There's no more. However, there is a scene in Mario & Luigi's Bowser's Inside story where the Shroobs are frozen over inside a part of the castle. Possible next video! Now for the second instance, we're going to stay on the same DS hardware and move on to Mario & Luigi Bowser's Inside Story, where the story changes up a bit. Instead of aliens invading, it's a small little minion that works his way to being a big baddie. Fawful's first appearance was in Mario & Luigi Superstar Saga as the underling to Cackletta. He did pretty much whatever she said, but towards the end of the game, he started to pave the way for his own. I think the entire time he's been scheming a way to beat Cackletta and do his own thing, which is amazing considering the fact that he's from a completely different kingdom, so technically he is an alien. After the bros defeat Cackletta and eventually defeat Fawful, he sits underground for the next following years, even through Mario & Luigi Partners in Time, and he sits underground as a bean merchant, collecting funds in order to raise his army. After many years of planning this giant attack on the Mushroom Kingdom, he eventually strikes, but in the deadliest way possible. Fawful's grand idea was to make everybody in the Mushroom Kingdom blow up so they couldn't do anything about him attacking. And as he did so, he gave everybody these mysterious mushrooms that gave them these things called the blorbs, which ballooned them up into big balls and they couldn't move around but roll around on their tummies and their backs. Now, Fawful also realized that the plan of attack here is to have both kingdoms in his hands. If he had this, there was nothing in his way to stop him. So with the Blorbs already taking over the Mushroom Kingdom, he decides to act on part 2, which is handling with Bowser. He gives Bowser this mushroom, which of course, he eats a random mushroom in the forest by a weird creepy guy in a red cloak, but he makes Bowser inhale everything around him, trees, bugs, even Princess Peach and the Mario Brothers. After Bowser's had his extreme lunch, he passes out and doesn't remember anything that happened. Going back to revisit his castle, he finds out that it has been overran by Fawful and his minions already. Fawful gains the help of a big brute named Midbis and also the help of a trio named the Best Fitness Friends, which are new creatures that were given to the game in the Plus version. Their jobs weren't all that important. They were just supposed to handle Bowser Jr. and the Koopalings, but they kind of do so. They toss a lot of them like off cliffs into the water and stuff, which is crazy. But anyway, Fawful's got every point covered here with his minions. Then Fawful just goes completely wild with trying to take over. He turns Bowser's castle into like a dine-in theater and even a giant fighting robot castle. So get this, remember when he gave Bowser that mushroom to make him inhale everything? Well, it turns out there was another reason why he did it, not just to take over the castle. He knew that he would suck up Princess Peach, and he knew the only way to get him out was to trap him this way. He created a giant theater, like I said, inside the castle, had Bowser fight Midbis, knew Bowser would lose, and he wanted to treat Bowser to a giant buffet. But the buffet's food was filled with super high Fawful calories, which made him blimp up super quick and made him bust through the floor. As he was busted through the floor, Fawful goes down to the basement to suck out Peach from his butt. Now tell me that's not dedication. Now, Fawful took a note from Princess Shroob. He realized that he couldn't himself take over the Mushroom Kingdom alone. He couldn't even do it with his own army like the Shroobs couldn't. He needed an extra force to help him out, so he seeked something that he found out when he made it to the Mushroom Kingdom, the Dark Star. So that's why Fawful needed Peach, because she was the only one in the Mushroom Kingdom with the true capabilities of unlocking the power of the Dark Star. While doing this, Fawful also took over Peach's castle and completely remodeled it as his own, similarly to how the Shroobs did. And he also made that castle into a robot too. The power of the Dark Star soon gets too unbearable for Fawful and completely consumes him, controlling him and becoming the new antagonist. The Dark Star has awakened, an evil ancient force that takes over the Mushroom Kingdom by his own hand. In the form of Bowser, he fights Bowser at the very end with the help of Fawful inside his own stomach. From the amazing teamwork of Mario and Luigi fighting the corrupted Fawful inside Bowser's stomach and Bowser fighting the Dark Star up in the world above, they finally were able to triumph and come out on top. At the very end, Fawful has been defeated, but he then tries to sabotage the bros by exploding inside of Bowser's stomach, making Bowser throw up Mario and Luigi back into the overworld, ending the game. Now, I was just going to top the list off with those two because they're two big games with outside threats other than Bowser, but then I thought about something. There is still one game at least the king himself actually did some good things. Now, Super Mario Galaxy's story was never that big. I mean, Bowser came, invaded the kingdom, and left with Peach, but did you see how he invaded the kingdom? Okay, maybe it wasn't that crazy, but he did pull up to the Mushroom Kingdom Pirates of the Caribbean style. Bowser's always good at trying to take over Peach's castle himself, but he said, I've had enough, and I'm about to take over the entire castle. Literally, I'm about to take your castle with me, not just you. So he pulls up to the Mushroom Kingdom with giant airships and shoots anchors down into the foundation of the castle. He then comes in with a giant UFO that shoots a laser that cuts out the castle's foundation and lifts up Peach's castle from the roots. So Bowser's here working with two forces, his own Bowser army and extraterrestrial threats. Along with Bowser's own space armada, Bowser Jr. has his own armada himself. He has all these cool inventions and robotics and gizmos to take down Mario. Let's take Mega Leg for instance. It's this giant robot that sits on a planet that could literally just step on Mario. How in the world does Mario come out on top in this game? And of course, at the end, Mario and Rosalina come out victorious and beat Bowser in his space armada and ends his space empire. Which is actually pretty cool because he comes back in Mario Galaxy 2, but a lot weaker. But anyways, that's pretty much it for Mario Galaxy, but I just had to point out that Bowser had a really good chance with his son and all his inventions and in his space fleet. They really should have took out the Mario Brothers. So the point of this is that the Mushroom Kingdom and its residents aren't exactly perfect. The Mario Brothers do make mistakes, and it almost cost them the entire world over. And there's some really close calls throughout Mario's history, obviously like we've seen from Partners in Time and from Bowser's Inside Story. But I do feel like eventually there will be some big game where everybody in the Mushroom Kingdom has to join hands. I mean, an Avengers in-game level event that is going to go off. There's going to be an enemy so strong. Mama Broodal, everybody, she's taking over.